I've now had the seat on this bike for just over 2 years. So I thought I'd do a quick 2-year review and tell you what I think of it and that type of thing. I'll link somewhere at the end to the original videos, the 2 videos I made about it, the fitting it and the my thoughts on it after having had it for a while. But this is a 2-year review. So, the first thing, excuse me, I'll just close that. The first thing is it is phenomenally comfortable. Now, just as a recap, it's the Top Celery Deluxe Lowered Gel Comfort Seat, which is a pretty big mouthful to say. But that's what it is. So, I went for the gel seat because I was told it was more comfortable, and I went lowered because I was having a problem. Oh dear, oops, somebody not paying attention. So where are we? Yes, I was having a problem with the height of the FJR. I've got short legs, and basically I was on tippy toes, so I went for the lowered one, even though there's slightly less padding in the lowered one. And as I say, I went for the gel seat because people have been saying the gel seat is the better of the 2 to go for. It's more comfortable. And so, anyhow, I bought the bike in May and took delivery of it beginning of June 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago now. Sorry, not 2 years ago, but 2.5 years ago. And I was having problems with the height of the bike, and also after about an hour on the standard seat, it was quite uncomfortable, and I was starting to have problems with that. As I say, after about an hour. So I thought, well, Christmas is coming. I'll bite the bullet and go for a new seat. And I ordered it. It took about, this was, shall we say, an off-the-peg seat. I bought it with their seat pan. They had it in stock. Everything was ready. And in theory, I should have had it in about 3 or 4 days, but in practice, DHL made a real mess up of the delivery, unfortunately. They managed to lose a package that's over 1 metre long, but never mind. Don't know how they do that, but they did. So it still arrived well in time for Christmas, and I kept it wrapped up and opened it on Christmas Day, and then subsequently fitted it. As I say, the video for that is linked at the end. So the first thing is, I should not have waited. I should have bought the seat immediately I bought the bike. That's the first observation. The seat has transformed the comfort of the bike. I mean, not just a little bit, I mean a lot. I can now sit on the bike a lot longer than my damaged shoulder will actually allow me to sit on the bike. So now I don't have to worry at all about sitting comfort, and the only real limitations I have is my left shoulder. But that's by the by. So that's the first thing. If you're in two minds as to whether or not to buy one, just buy it. Just buy it. I mean, there's no other thing I can say on that. It's worth every penny from the comfort perspective against the original seat. So that's the first thing. Now, secondly, mine I got was the lowered seat. So I could actually get my feet down on the ground, or partially down on the ground. Now, the lowered part gives you about half an inch, about 10 to 15 centimeters, millimeters, something in that region, 10 to 15 millimeters, which is sufficient for me now to plant 1 foot down on the ground, no problem, or to be comfortably on the balls of my feet if I decide to put both feet down, which makes the bike a lot more stable. And even on sort of adverse camber roads where you're putting your foot down, as I say, and it's going a lot further down, you are a lot more, how can I put it, secure. You feel a lot more secure. So that's the second thing. If you're a bit short of stature, then that extra half inch is actually quite impressive. It's changed the bike, as I say, from me feeling a bit precarious when I come to the stops to now being absolutely fine, no problems whatsoever at stops. So get the lowered one. As to the difference in comfort, well, I do have another bike, as I mentioned. I have a Honda Deauville NT700, and I within about a week of me buying the seat for this one, I bought the seat for the Deauville, and I'd had the Deauville for about 10 years, very nearly 10 years at that point, and been using the original seat. So that's how much I was impressed by the seat. Now, the one for the Deauville is not lowered. It's the ordinary gel seat, and it is slightly more comfortable. There's a little bit more give in it. But there isn't really that much difference. Yes, you can feel that it's more comfortable on the Deauville, but it's not a huge, amount. Okay, how about other things like how well has it lasted and this type of thing? Well, it's still looks to be in perfect condition. Okay, both seats. I mean, this one here, I don't usually leave it out in the rain, so it's unlikely to get wet. But I do wash it with the seat on. Well, one has to, hasn't there? And it does get washed regularly. As I say, usually after every Sunday outing, and the seat is fine, absolutely fine. It doesn't seem to absorb water or anything like that. It's fine on that. The Deauville seat, if I just refer to that for a moment, actually does. I ride in the rain, I ride in snow, all weathers, well, the cold, and that type of thing. That hasn't been that cold recently. I think the lowest temperature I've seen is about 0 Celsius on it, or thereabouts, -1. And the seat is fine. It doesn't seem to freeze. It doesn't seem to go hard or anything like that in that sort of temperature, which is really good. And the next thing, of course, is heat. Now, because it's gel, some people have a problem with the idea of gel and heat. Now, I've ridden this bike here in temperatures up to about 40 degrees C. And quite honestly, it's been comfortable to ride, it's been comfortable to sit on. There's been no problems with it at all at those temperatures. It hasn't been hot. I haven't felt excessively hot. It's been absolutely fine. So I would say, the gel doesn't seem to have an adverse effect on the bike in the heat. So, yeah, heat and cold don't seem to affect it, or affect the comfort of it, and that type of thing. It's just as comfortable in the heat and in the cold. So, next, what about getting it on and off the bike? Well, here it is a bit different to the ordinary seat. Now, the ordinary seat is actually very easy to get on and off, simply because the clearances are bigger, whereas this seat, because of the gel and the extra padding and that type of thing, the tolerances are much tighter. Over the 2 years, it has got easier to put it on and off the bike. It still doesn't sort of pop up when you release the key, which the original seat does. If you when you release the lock with the key, the original seat pops up. This one still doesn't. It still stays locked down, and you have to pick it up. Putting it back, you have to make sure that it's in the right place. It's not difficult. It's once you've done it 2 or 3 times, you'll find that it's easy to do. So, but that's probably the only con. So anyhow, yes. So putting the seat on and off, there is a knack to it, which you soon learn. You just have to remember to get it into the right place and push it in the right place, and everything goes on as it should. So, my recommendations at the end say, if you are thinking about it, if you are umming and ahhing, to me it is an exceptionally good investment for your bike. As I say, I do still have the original Yamaha seat that came with this, and I have put it back on for a ride when we were test riding the the second gear replacement mess that FJR, the Yamaha garage, did, so that it was in stock format. I took all the accessories off that I'd added, which included the seat, and I put the original seat back on. So I have ridden it since with the original seat, and it is noticeable how much harder the original seat is. It is noticeable. I can't talk about the Yamaha deluxe seat because I don't know. I've not tried it. So I can't give you my opinion on that. But I can give you my opinion on this. The Top Celery deluxe lowered gel, comfort gel seat. And if you are umming and ahhing, just buy it. Just buy it. Don't and ah anymore. It's it really is an excellent purchase. So, and very worthwhile. So that's my opinion. We'll have a look when I stop. I'll run the camera and we'll have a look at the on and off procedure, which I'll link to at the which I'll put after the video, so that'll be at the end, how I take it off and show you the fact that it doesn't jump up or down. But my opinion is I shouldn't have waited the 6 months to buy it. I should have bought it immediately. And if you're and ahhing, just buy it. It's worth every penny. Absolutely every penny. And that's my honest opinion. As to the other makes of seats, Sargent and so on, I can't comment on those because, well, I've never had one. In my, 40 years of motorcycling, nearly 40 years of motorcycling, I've never had one. I've tended to use the stock seat all the time. And this is the first time I bought an aftermarket seat. And I was so impressed with it that I bought another one for the other bike immediately. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd show you the procedure for putting the seat on and off. It's very similar to the original seat, but I'll show you what I mean by it not springing up when you release the lock, and the various other things. As I say, the seat is in its lowest position. You can see probably 1 or 2 marks just here. That's actually from putting the seat on and off, rather than anything else. So, without further ado, let's get the key in the lock. I've just turned it, and as you can see, nothing happens. You actually have to physically lift the seat. This one, as I say, is the Top Celery seat pan, not the Yamaha seat pan, so it's got the Top Celery logo on. Everything is exactly the same. There's no real difference. It's got all the various pieces in the various places. What it doesn't have are the little rubber thingies that go there. We don't have that. But apart from that, it's all the same. So, looks like having had a week in the garage, the bike's a bit dusty, but putting it back on, as you saw, the front seat was, very simple. As I say, it's in its lowered position. There you are. It's on. It's secure. It's not going anywhere. The rear seat, the pillion, you need to feed it in and make sure it's flat at the bottom. And this is, I think, where some people have a problem. They haven't checked that it's actually flat at the bottom. Okay, so you have to make sure that these pieces here have actually gone under the tongues. To get it in, feed it in from the top, make sure it's flat, and just push down, and that now is locked into place. So when you first do it, the tolerance just here is actually quite tight, but after 2 years of taking it on and off, it's fine. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you very much. I hope that's of use for you. I'm going to have a look round the chateau and the church, the Chateau 4 I should call it, and we'll see you next time.